Well, I'm real curious. The kids are all wanting to know about the boat story.
Which one?
I've heard this since
Which one?
I've heard it, but I've never heard it facts
wanna
from
hear?
fact. That's the one.
Well,
The one at Canton? Or
Yeah,
There's a
the
lot
one,
of
Canton.
things led up to that. We'd had a lot of stories before that, but
the one in Missouri? Oh, man. We've had several now.
you want to hear the
Canton story.
The Canton story. Okay. 1985.
Been that long.
1985, the summer of 85, I was thinking about buying a bass boat from a guy by the name of Dale Myers here in Anthony. It was an 18-foot inboard
Wichita.
Washita.
Washita.
Washita
Oh, no,
with a
Washita.
four-cylinder Volvo engine.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the greatest thing. It was green, metallic, and white. I'd never had a bass boat in my life, and I was getting into the fishing pretty good. John and I had done.
Good boat.
I'd taken my dad's boat. When my dad passed away, I inherited a Glastron 16-foot tri-hull. And man, I was upgrading to this thing. So I talked to Dale Myers, and he said, "You go ahead and take it. You try it out." And I said, "No, Dale, I don't want to do that." And he said, "No, I mean it." He said, "You try it out. And if you like it, then we'll deal." And I said, "Okay." I got a hold of my old fishing buddy here. I said, "Let's go down to Canton. I want to try this boat out." Well, we did. We pulled it down there, and I didn't even know it was behind the pickup. We got down there and we unloaded that boat, and we were having more fun. We was catching walleye, catching white bass.
Catching fish.
We were catching
Yeah.
fish, and we was trolling on the Longdale side, which is the east side of Canton Lake. And we was just going back and forth over some little humps out there. We had a depth finder. And we were anywhere from 12 to, 8 foot of water probably.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this wind had come up, and we had going back and forth. And we had a live well full of fish. I just had a brand new bunch of fishing equipment, new rods and reels. Lo and behold, Johnny happened to say something to me. I turned around and I was headed north into the wind. And I noticed we were getting some whitecaps out there. An old boat was boom, boom. What'd you tell me?
Well, I looked, Doug was back to the back standing fishing, and I looked back and I looked down, and the back of the boat was about, I'm thinking 6 inches above the water, something like that. I said, "Hey, Doug, we're taking on water." And
I had sneakers on, tennis shoes, and I looked down, and my feet were clear underwater. But I didn't realize it was hot, and the water was warm, about the same
Yeah.
body temperature. I didn't even realize it.
lo and behold,
I
bilge
ga-
pumps weren't working.
I told Johnny, I said, "Well, I flipped that pump on." I said, "We're pumping." Well, we weren't pumping. And I said, "Well, let me throttle us. Let's get in the shore." And I hit that throttle, and the boat just sank.
When he hit that, they just pulled it right
And
on
down it went. And
Yeah.
I stood up and floated off. Not a pretty picture.
Looked like he was walking on water. He was gone.
John hung on to the boat and was rescued by another boat. And I got cussed out by a bunch of Indians for floating into the fishing line. I mean, they were mad. They were fishing for channel cat, and I floated in like a wet dog coming in
But
shore.
you gotta understand, Doug don't know how to swim, guys. Doug don't know how to swim.
I'll tell you what, that lake got some turbulence in it when I was.
That's not all that was left out there.
But they picked us up, and we got a ride, and we went to the Overlook, which is a burger place and gas and tackle place up there on Canton Dam. And we told them what happened, and I called home on a payphone. Johnny called, Betty,
Yeah.
and told them what had happened, and the guy running the place, he said, you'll never get that boat out of there. He said, there's lots of boats in the bottom of this lake, and you'll never get it out. Well, look, the next day, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was out of there.
Jerked her right out.
We got it out. We had 2 guys from Anthony help with 3 guys.
Yeah.
We had it out, but everybody was okay.
Still, I can still see that boat was sitting in the water with the bow up front with the shoulder motor, and the shoulder motor sticking out of that thing, and nobody took that damn thing. That's amazing.
If it hadn't been for Johnny, I wouldn't have had any fishing tackle. He was up there holding fishing rods and holding tackle boxes and hanging on to a trolling motor.
Tackle box under each arm and full of rods.
I never seen anything like it.
Boat come by, I was in the water. The boat come by and the guys helped me in the boat and took me inshore.
Bill, one more boat story real quick. I called up Doug and I said, or maybe when you call me, so I can get us in a fishing tournament. Big Hill Lake. No, Doug said, let's go to that tournament tonight, then we'll do all right. I said, let's go. So we get up there, and
This is Big Hill Lake in Cherryville, Kansas.
anyway, they had a drawing. No, Doug, he drew a number, and I think it was number 4. Everybody said, well, you lucky ducks. He said, that 4, that's a good number. Well, what do you mean it's good? Well, come morning when you take out of here, they're gonna put all these boats up in the cove.
You're the fourth
We
one.
called
just
out the
leave.
number, we're the 4th one out of there. Well, that didn't mean nothing to us, but we thought, well, all right. So we get out there next morning. Trouble is, you can hear fish flopping around in some of
In
these
the
other guys'
live
live
wells.
wells.
They already had fish in live wells.
When it-
They
yeah,
wasn't
tournament-
cheating, was they?
No.
Wasn't no cheating
That's the
going on in that
truth, too.
tournament.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're sitting there and all of a sudden, her boat 1, boy, turn her, old boat comes out of there shooting a rooster tail 50 foot in the
They'd
air.
say boat 1, and then they'd fire a pistol.
Then boy, they said, boat 2. Boy, out of the cove, here comes another one. And pretty soon, boat 4.
Well, these are big bass boats, high performance boats, and I'm in my dad's 16-foot, 33-horse Evinrude.
Pretty soon they say, boat 4. No,
That's
Doug.
us. And I throttled that sucker, and here we go.
Pretty soon I heard, boat 4. Pretty soon, boat 4. Oh, Doug said, turn your head around like this, and now they're gonna think we're going
I said,
fast.
lean forward and turn your
Yeah,
head
they
around.
think we're
Looks
going
like
like
we're
the
going
They're
other
going
guy.
fast.
Well, about that time, here come boat 5. Right beside us, about tipped us over. And of course,
We're
Doug,
still in the hole from boat 3.
old Doug kept looking over at me and says, well, tell me what side of the boat they're coming on. I said, that's the guy on the right side. Pretty soon here comes the guy right up behind us. He's going on the left side. Pretty soon I looked at him and go, what in the hell are we doing out here to start with? So we peeled off and got out of there before we got run over. But,
Did you win?
no,
Oh, heck,
Well,
I
that's-
figured you'd win it.
that's kind of the end of that story. But I mean, it was a good story, but that's the best part of it.
Well,
Yeah, boat 4. Yeah, about killed us.
Doug probably, when we had the little experience on the river down there, or the creek.
Oh, John and I had
Yeah.
a time. Oh, my Lord. I forgot about that one.
Oh, yeah, I can't,
Tell this one.
well, we packed up this one.
This
you
was
still
a
had-
Benny McCann deal.
You're right, we still had your old yellow pickup.
Yes, I forgot about this
We
one.
had sleeping bags, and I had a little old fold-out camper we had in the back, pulling behind that thing.
Benny McCann.
Yeah, so
Called up,
we
he
was
said,
headed down to go drift fishing. Down to Canoe.
Rex Dawson
Yeah,
Agency in Branson, Missouri, insurance agency.
yeah. But
Benny
man,
was friends with this guy, and he got rounded us for a trip.
had this good creek.
Fishing trip.
Good,
On
I
Bull-
guess it was a creek.
Bull Creek.
Yeah, Bull Creek.
Bull Creek in
So
Missouri, Branson.
We hadn't even got, well, I guess we did get
bunch
to
of
Ark
bull.
City, and I was still smoking at the time.
I was still smoking. On the way over, Linda was following us in the Pontiac.
And I pitched my cigarette
We
out
were
the window.
smoking and throwing cigarettes out.
And lo and behold, it went right in my sleeping bag in the back.
Linda
And we-
kept flashing lights and everything. I said, Johnny, what's going on? I
The
don't know. She
sleeping
said,
bag was just, boy, you
we was
see,
going
I'm
down the
not
highway
smoking.
and the smoke was rolling out of the back of our pickup. Johnny's cigarette, Lucky Strike, went in the back right in the sleeping bag.
I got out and had a can of pop, and I shook my can of pop up, used it for a fire extinguisher. Put the bag out, and we went on down the road.
Well,
You talk about.
that was just the beginning of this trip.
And we got to the campground, and you talk
We
about.
stayed in the Silver Dollar City campground.
Right, and I never got out of that dang sleeping bag the next morning. I was stuck to it. With all that pop in there.
Well, okay, we meet up with this Rex Dawson. We go in there, he takes us out and shows us
Shows us the creek.
the creek, and what we're gonna do. He's gonna take us out, we're gonna leave our pickup, he's gonna take us on with the canoe. It's a canoe trip. Then, we get in the canoe, and we float to our pickup, and pick up.
This
the
is 8 o'clock in the morning now, guys.
Get the canoe, load it up in the pickup, and take it back to his place. Not a problem. Beautiful water. Go ahead, John.
We hadn't gone, I bet we hadn't gone 30 yards down that creek.
Johnny caught a smallmouth.
Caught smallmouth.
Smallmouth bass. Just boom, just like a
Kept
beautiful
going, kept
clear
going.
water.
And the farther we went down that stupid creek, the shallower it got. And pretty soon, we was having to carry the goddamn boat over the rocks and stuff.
We was carrying
Well,
that boat, dragging it across sandbars, rock bars.
And then in the boat, of course, we had our cooler, we had all our drinks and our lunch and the whole 9 yards in it. Well, we get in some fast water, and before we got down, he told us now, he said, you're gonna have to watch snakes because they're up in the trees.
And that did it for me.
Yeah,
That is when I started green
and-
apple.
Right, the snakes they lay up in the trees, see, above the water.
I'll tell you what, if there's a snook up there,
Why, we going down the creek, we hit some fast water, and of course,
Sound pretty solid.
I was seeing the snakes, but I wasn't saying a damn word, see? Because
Johnny,
I knew what it
he
was.
he told me, he said later, did you see all those snakes?
Because I knew I'd end up in the water, you know?
Well, you did anyway.
Yeah, so we went around the dead going fast water. Next thing I knew,
We
the
had
boat
gone-
was over on the top of us.
Well, we had a log laying across the creek, and it was the only fast water we had had in 10 miles. We had dragged that canoe to where it was so thin, it was paper thin on the bottom of that aluminum canoe. We finally got some swift water and we got in it. My God, we go, and all of a sudden we make a bend, and here's a tree laying across it, and there's not room to go under it. I lean over, John leans over, the canoe
And we
goes
go-
over,
we go
the
out
ice
of the boat.
chest goes over, the fishing tackle goes out. There we are. Look like
But
a
it's
bunch
a
of
good
river
thing it
rats.
wasn't deep because we picked everything up and got it back in the boat.
Yeah.
And it was dark. Let me tell you, it was dark.
We
by the
reached-
time we got to the pickup.
We reached if it hadn't have been for a little bit of daylight, glow left in daylight, I would not have seen that yellow pickup. We would have
It
gone
was-
right on by.
That
It was
something
parked
like,
on the bank up
I think
here.
he said it was something like a, what, 10, 15-mile trip?
Yeah, and it took us all
8 hours.
day long.
8 hours, 8, 9 hours.
Well, it was in the summertime, so it didn't
Yeah.
get dark till
Oh,
hell,
8
10 o'clock.
right.
We went to that McDonald's at 11 o'clock at night at Branson.
Right. you're
Remember
right.
that?
Oh, yeah,
Old Branson.
yeah. Not a good experience, but it was fun, I think. Just another
was another
day
deal
on the
I was-
water.
Oh, there's another thing I just thought about. What was that?
Oh, and the good trip up there, we had a real good trip. We was wading fishing crappie.
Where's
but-
that at?
Huh?
Where at?
Up at Cheney.
Oh, Lord, this is
We
good.
was fishing the willows, not the willows, but the
This is,
cattail.
listen to this, Joanne.
We was fishing the cattails. And we had our chest
Beautiful
waders
day.
on and stuff, and we'd wade around the cattails and stuff, and we waded.
You
around
went
it.
left and I went right.
Right.
Remember?
We went around this once, and lo and behold, there was this fella in the water.
Well, let me tell the rest of that story, okay? And then you can come in. But I gotta tell you the truth. You went to the left, I went to the right. And I looked over there in the brush pile and I saw a life cushion. And I thought, damn, the closer I got to that thing, I'd cast and I looked at that thing, I thought, well, I'll pick that up. We can use that.
Yeah.
And I got over there and I looked down at that cushion. I was getting to snag it with my hook. And I looked down and I saw a guy's ears and the hair just floating in the water. It was of his back, and he had a life jacket on, a life vest, and he was floating like this, dadder and a hammer. And I hollered at Johnny. I said, "Get over here." And he came over. Of course, confirmed what I saw. Yeah, we got a dead man here.
So you did.
Yeah.
He's dead. But I'll tell you, you know,
We
this,
didn't have cell phone or nothing.
no, hell, I still don't.
Uh-uh.
We went to Fred's bait shop and told them, and they called the sheriff department.
Uh-huh.
And they came out, and I'll tell you, this sounds morbid, and I don't mean to be, but I guess if I'm talking, this has to be one of the things that sticks in a guy's mind. Of all the things I've done, that's one of the things that I can never get out of my mind. I know how people have problems with war and battle and horror things, but when they drugged that man, they went out. the
You grabbed
county.
him by the belt.
They grabbed him by the belt and the nape of the neck and drug him,
Up on the back.
floated him.
Uh-huh.
He was floating
Yeah.
out. He was in this position. down, and he was
Already
stiff.
rigid.
His
He was
body
rigid.
was stiff.
Rigor mortis had set in. Yeah.
And I'll never forget when they were dragging him up to the shallower waters. He was just bumping.
Yeah.
And
He'd
they
been in
got
the
him
water.
up, and he was just standing up
Yeah.
like a dog would stand.
Yeah. Been in
I'll
the
never,
water.
I can't get that
Been in
out
the
of my
water
mind.
all night long. Yeah.
And he was an 80-year-old man.
83.
83.
Yeah.
And he died of natural causes.
That's
He had a
right, yeah.
stringer of white bass hooked to him. He'd
Still
been
had-
out there fishing.
I still can see them white bass hooked on the stringer.
He had a heart
Yeah.
attack out there fishing. He was doing what he wanted to do.
Hadn't even,
Bless his heart.
wife hadn't even turned him in as
But
missing.
boy, it left an imprint in my mind. You
Yeah.
know, you don't see that every day.
But them things happen.
Yeah.
There you go.
But that's what